Okay, so this is how to program a tank drive for your robot. When you first open up ROBOTC, you want to go over to File, New, and New Competition Template. If you do not see New Competition Template, go to Robot and select Compiler Target and make sure that's set to Physical Robot. Sometimes the setting is set to Virtual Worlds and it will not show Competition Template. So select Competition Template, and this will give you the format to input code for your competitions, where it includes an autonomous section and also a autonomous and a user control section. The first thing you really want to do here is to always save your file and make sure you name it something useful and put it where the rest of your team code is. So we're going to name this file tank drive. Okay, and so now what we do first is we set up the motors and sensors. In this dialog over here, you're going to tell ROBOTC all of the motors that you have, the ports that they're plugged into, as well as any sensors that you have and the ports that they're plugged into. And so these port numbers should correspond with the port numbers on the Cortex, which are located over here. Now we're going to name them something useful. So because we're programming tank, we're going to have a left and right motor. So we'll name the first one wheel right, the next one wheel left. And we select the type of motors, which are written on the motors. A majority of them are 393s. And now for the reverse section. Okay, so when you have a motor in Vex, when they get values that are between negative 127 and positive 127, and where 0 means that there's no movement in the motors, right? So when we send positive values to the motor, we find out that they move in a clockwise direction, right? So if we said positive 50, for instance, it would send this in the clockwise position. Similarly, if we were to tip it over and run the same thing, we would see that it rotates it the same way, where this is clockwise. So when we put this on the actual wheel, we will notice something rather interesting, where when we send positive values, it would cause the wheels to actually spin in this direction. But when we flip it to this side, and we assign the same positive values, this wheel will actually spin in this direction, which is clockwise. But when we actually look at this from this point of view, where this is the front, we see when positive values are assigned, the robot will actually spin because the left side is going backwards and the right side is going forwards. So this is where the reverse comes into play, because by saying reverse, we tell one of the motors to always spin in the opposite direction. So for instance, if we were to send positive values to this one, it would actually spin the robot in the forward direction. By using the reverse, we can say when we send positive values, the robot will actually move forward in this case. Okay, back to the code. Okay, so meaning that we have to reverse the left side, because the left side was going backwards when we originally had positive values. So we apply that and hit OK. And so now we're going to see that we have these new additions called pragma code, and this is generated by ROBOTC, and you don't want to touch this code or you will actually have errors. So to continue with our user control, we're going to scroll down to the bottom here, and we are going to go ahead first, delete everything that is in the while loop for the user control, and now we can begin programming for tank drive. And so when we do use tank drive, it works in this fashion. The joystick has buttons and it has channels. When we want to control the wheels, we use the channels because they give us a far greater control over the robot. And so for tank drive, the left side, these left channels over here, will control the left side of the robot, while the right side over here will control the right side of the robot. and we can see they're mapped to these two different channels. So 3 and 2 both control each side respectively. 3 controls the left side and 2 controls the right side. So when we're programming for a tank and we want the robot to move in the forward direction, we just make the left side go forward and the right side go forward. And this will send the robot moving forward. Backwards, we just reverse both of them, and it will go backwards. And now if we wanted the robot to actually turn right, we will make the left side go forward, and then the right side will go backwards. And this will cause the robot to actually spin. Alright, so if we want to see this in action really quickly, when we want to spin to the right, the left side goes forward and the right side kind of goes backwards, and so it'll make it spin in this direction. And so if we want to go in the left direction, we just reverse that, where the right side will go forwards and the left side will go backwards, and that would make it spin in the left direction. So for the joysticks, the range of values is from -127 to +127, where this is the neutral position equals 0, and that's the same for both sides. And we'll see that's very similar to the motor values. So this means that we can use the joysticks over here to directly control the motors. And we do this by first saying motor to specify that we want to program for a motor. Let's compile first. Okay. And by compiling, it kind of registers everything that we just did. And so motor, we can either use the port, which we can ports 1 and 2 are the ones that we used, or we can use the motor names, which are a little bit more useful. So motor left, and we set that to the joysticks by saying vex RT, which stands for remote transmitter, and then we say which channel it's connected to. And so looking here, we say the left side goes to channel 3, so channel 3. And then the right motor, let's see, wheel right equals vex RT, let's see, what channel was that? Channel 2. And semicolon. And just like that, we have a very simple tank drive with 2 motors left and right.